Be the Northman.
Well, damn.
That be the Northman.
That was a lot. Jeez.
Yes, it was.
That was actual insanity. I really thought, like, before we watched it, that I was gonna have trouble, like, following along. Like, it kind of seemed like one of those movies that you kind of have to have, like, some, like, background knowledge or something like that. But it was pretty easy to follow along once you kind of get into that, like, headspace.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, I see why you like this. This was really good.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on everything? I know it's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, it's a whole lot.
That's what I was trying to tell you in the beginning. Like,
yeah, I don't think I was ready for this.
no, I told you there's gonna be a lot to like talk about.
Yeah, I know. I understand. A lot of symbolism.
A lot of stuff to break down.
Yeah.
Especially stuff with mom too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was a character. Cause it's what's his name? I don't know why I have the main character.
Hamlet?
Yeah, Hamlet.
It's basically Hamlet, but spelled backwards or spelled outwards.
Yeah. Well, Hamlet, with like his whole journey, like, you know, he was going from, you know, being like a happy kid, you know, getting to the point of his father passing his legacy on to him, and him getting, like, his dad getting murdered by his uncle in front of him. And it's like, okay, my mind is set on revenge. Like, I'm going to avenge my dad. I'm gonna free my mom, you know, kill my uncle. And then to find out your whole life was a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really just, like, flipped you. Okay, like, now my mom loves my uncle, and, like, was that a lie this whole time? Like, how did that happen? Like, I would be so confused too. And even her, like, just be like, oh, if you kill him, you'll be my next king.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, she was definitely a villain as well in this story, just because of how just crazy she is.
Yeah.
And like just how crazy she is. I mean, like,
yeah.
you know, scar your whole son, and you have this weird infatuation for him as well.
Yeah.
And like there's like this whole multiple article just written on her part in this story alone.
Yeah,
that is just deep.
She's not even shown a whole lot either. And if there's that much to unpack with her, you know that's a well-written character.
Yes.
Just like in at the beginning of Naruto, the like 2 episodes with Obito.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it gives you so much information or so much, like, context to go off of from just a small part. Like, she really, like, with just the little bit that she was shown, she played a huge role. Like, that's insane. And then...
yeah. No, go ahead.
Him going from, oh, I'm not going to kill a woman, I'm not going to kill a woman, to, you have no choice.
Yeah. And like it's like it becomes like a it becomes like a reaction thing.
Yeah.
Like he has no choice but to react.
Yeah. And it's like the internal conflict too, because like, this is my mother. This is who I've been trying to free this whole time. This is, you know, the woman that birthed me. I love her. You know, I want to protect her. I want to free her.
And I spent my whole life thinking that she was in pain.
And then she's trying to kill you.
Yeah. And or be your future wife.
Yeah. Which is just a weird thing to like go through your mind too.
Which also shows she only really cares about herself in this situation.
Exactly.
You know, because she came at, you know, she was a slave before.
Mm-hmm.
And everything has just been done from her own interest.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Which is, again, just wild.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And then even from Hamlet, his whole thing, you know, I've never loved someone else. I've never cared for anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And then going from that to, you know, his wifey.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I've never cared about a person like this.
Mm-hmm.
I've never loved a person like this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you thought, like, his whole life was just built on vengeance.
And revenge, yeah.
So it's probably like the weirdest thing for him. He's like just going through his mind, because even on the boat going there, they had this like weird like connection.
Yeah.
It was like they
The eye
had like,
contact.
like it was like kind of like they said, like fate,
Yeah.
like the red thread. It
Because we saw her character earlier too, when he attacked their village that she was in, when she was bringing the food and then she tried to, and she cut the guy's throat, or at least attempted to.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's just weird how like fate like brings people together.
Yeah.
In that sense.
And like what's interesting too is that like at the end he showed he cared more about himself, because like he cared about the future and the safety of his children and his wife, but also the fact that like I can't get over this thing that has ripped me to shreds.
Yeah.
And now it's ripping me again, because now it's told that my whole ploy and my whole path of vengeance shouldn't have even been that.
Right.
You know?
You know, if he only knew that from the beginning, this would be a completely different story.
Yeah.
Completely different. But it's just weird how like things play out. Man, it's just such a deep story. Like, how do we even like fully unpack this? It's not like a simple thing. Like, even down to the like the small symbolism, like the ravens or the
little wolf thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of that. Even with, Willem Dafoe always kills everything he's in, regardless.
Oh my god.
Big or small of a role.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I thought he would have a bigger role.
I did too, yeah, initially when I went into
They really like said never let him know your next move.
Right.
Because I thought he was gonna have a bigger role and Anya was gonna have a smaller role. But, even with how small of a role he did have, he did make a big impact.
Oh yeah, always. Well, and the thing is, this is right up his alley, because he comes from stage theater.
Yeah, I did know that.
And he still does things like that. So like this is right up his alley. This types of performances and stuff like that. These period performances is right up his alley. So I mean, just everything. I mean, even the short scenes that Ethan Hawke had was he was just amazing alone in just the short scenes that he had.
I wasn't expecting him to die that early either.
Me neither, because I didn't watch the trailers going into this.
Yeah.
It was and I didn't want you to watch the trailers either, because it was like the trailers, in my opinion, I watched them, they have way too many spoilers. They pretty much show the ending of the movie and everything and all in the trailer. I'm like, dang, bro. Like, even the scene that I thought was the coolest intro to a fight, when he catches the javelin and throws it back, was in the trailer. I'm like, why did y'all... So, like, in the theater, when that happened, I was like, oh, okay, you got my attention now.
Yeah. And even... Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
you
Even when you said, like, oh, there's some slow parts, I didn't find them very slow.
No, I mean, there are slower moments in pacing, but we have watched slower movies.
Yeah.
Because Interstellar was a pretty slow movie.
I think
Dunkirk was slow.
I'm kind of like, it wasn't really that slow, because I was expecting it to be like kind of, like Interstellar or Dunkirk,
super
where they were like
super,
but this like had my attention like pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, because you're constantly trying to figure out what's going on. And the thing that I liked about it, I talked about it in my review, which is I'll probably have you listen to later, because there's some stuff I don't even remember that I said.
Yeah.
But like, things that I said in my review that I really liked about it was that it felt the way, especially with the long shots, Jaren Blasch, who was a DP on this, who worked on all of Robert Eggers' movies, worked on The Lighthouse, worked on The Witch, and some other of his other films that I don't know by name. They worked together all these years, and it's a signature style that he carries over, even in The Lighthouse, which I absolutely loved as a film. His storytelling, by the way, like Robert Eggers, just his storytelling is just fantastic. The way that he structures a storyline, the way that he structures and builds the world for you to really get involved in.
Yeah, this was... I was going to mention that too. Like, the world is, like, you really get into it.
Yeah. And
especially with all, like, the really big, vast shots.
Landscapes. Everything, yeah.
Like, it really puts you in.
The long shots are, like, my favorite thing about this movie, because one of the things I love about long shots is that it also brings you into the world more. It makes you feel like this situation's happening right now. Too many cuts can take you out of a situation.
Definitely.
But if you have like really well placed long shots, it can really bring you into the world. It can really drive the atmosphere of the situation higher.
Yeah.
So
because even in the beginning, when they had the first initial one, like they were in the village, You had mentioned it, and I didn't even notice until after you said it.
That they didn't cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like so immersed.
It was like 2-3 minutes and no cutting.
Yeah, which is insane to me. Like, I want to know how many shots or like how many times I had to like shoot that to get it like down.
Because even down to the extras and everybody in the corner, everything has to be timed and perfect. And a lot of people use long shot techniques originally to save money.
Right.
As I told you, because shooting on film is not cheap. Yeah. So they did it to save money. If you can get as many shots as you can get within this, let's get it. Because if we have to keep, shooting, cut, shoot, cut, reset, shoot, cut, filmmaking wasn't cheap. It still isn't. I mean, it's a little. Studios have a wealth of money now. They have a buttload of money now, but like back then, it was a lot of money.
Right.
So they had to be very precise with the scenes that they wanted to shoot. Even The Shining has a couple of long shots that were there not for artistic reasons, mainly for budget.
Right.
It's become an artistic thing now because there's no reason for Robert Eggers to shoot this movie with long shots. You can shoot in indie films and have as many takes as you want because with modern digital cameras.
Right. That's just an artistic choice.
Yeah, we don't have to rely on film. We have digital cameras. We can delete. We can clear our memory, make more space, add more SD cards, add more space, memory cards. There's no limit to how much stuff. A scene's bad. Okay, fine. We'll shoot it later and we'll splice it together. But to deliberately choose to shoot scenes like this. Because it has become an art piece now and a filmmaking style to shoot things like this. So I really like that he did that and that Jaron Blasch decided that this is a route they were gonna go. And even the shots, I just love when they would have like those side shots where they film them on the side, on their side profile like so.
Yeah. And
there's a building and the camera is stationary and they're just walking past it, or the object in the background and the object in the foreground is moving along with the camera from the side profile. I loved they use those shots a lot in the movie, and that was that just added his stamp and creative style, because a lot, like I said, the other two movies before were like that too. So and he used Anya before in The Witch.
Yes, I've been meaning to watch The Witch for a long time. Everyone says how amazing it is, and it's right up my alley.
We should. So I didn't
it's on my list.
Yeah, I didn't see the movie fully. I've only, like I said, just seen scenes from learning stuff through all the cinematography lessons I be going through.
Yeah, no.
So
Anya killed it in this too.
Like, she's amazing. She's amazing.
What was her name? Olga.
Olga, yeah.
Yeah, no, her character was very interesting. I was very intrigued by her.
Speaking of that, sidebar, because I know we don't have so much time, but like there's like a high profile critic that was there when I went to go see it that night for the screening, and older black guy. He seems to like know everybody. Everybody kind of knows him. He's kind of friends with everybody. He's talking to everybody. So as soon as we walk out, he has his fedora on and his suit and everything. He coming out with his cane. This guy is a veteran. So he looks at me and he's like, "Huh?" He's like, "Their Thanksgivings must be fun." That's the first thing he told me. He was like, "Well, damn, their Thanksgivings must be fun." And I'm like, "Man, look," I said, "It wouldn't be." I told him, I said, "It wouldn't be Thanksgiving without a fight or two." He's like, "Yeah." Literally the first thing he told me is, as soon as we walked out, that's the first thing he said. Funny. And I couldn't help but laugh. I'm like, he's like, "Well, damn." Because you think about it, it's like a family just being broken down, and a lot of these Viking stories, it's usually family pit against each other. I mean, there's a lot of period pieces like that. Even in Gladiator, even though they weren't blood brothers, they were family, and look at the outcome of that.
Right.
Family on family, right?
Yeah, it's always a family thing.
Yeah, I mean,
if not family, someone very close.
Shoot, in Bible stories, there's Cain and Abel. Right? Cain being jealous and kills his own brother with his bare hands because he was jealous. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stories like that where, people, especially brothers and father and brother relationships and things like that, there's always a cycle of vengeance. So, the powerful...
That's just a thing about humankind.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
It's always going to be a circle of violence and
it's like, when is it going to end?
Yeah, it's
like you take revenge, and then okay, then your kids are going to take revenge on you. I mean, their kids are going to take revenge on you.
Yeah,
and then
and
you could,
if Amleth left the two kids alive, then it would just continued and continued and continued.
You can already see that even with the son, you know, that kid, that his little brother was him.
Yeah.
His little brother was him. So from his little brother's eyes, you get this random dude that just came and killed my mom.
Yeah.
Killed my older brother. And, you know, so in his eyes, he's a villain.
Right. No,
and Amleth was in that position too.
That's why I liked why they included that part, like having like a brother, because it was literally just him, like what he's seeing as a kid versus how he is as an adult.
And how and exactly how everyone views each other. Because when Amleth was a kid, his dad could do no wrong.
Yeah.
His mom could do no wrong. But as you see, his father wasn't necessarily the best guy.
Now it's the same for his brother.
Yeah, same for his brother. You know, in his eyes, his mom couldn't do any wrong. In his eyes, his dad couldn't do any wrong. In his eyes, his brother couldn't do any wrong. He's a chieftain. My dad's good. My brother's good. I want to be like them. And then, you know, have that happen to you is crazy. So, I mean, there's a lot more that I want to talk about, but we like always don't have a lot of time right now to dive deeper into it.
The one thing I do want to say, though, is that I really feel like this is an art piece in itself.
Yeah, do you see why I say this is up there for me with the Batman?
No, I
one of the best movies I've seen.
Why. I understand why. This is art.
That's what I said. That's the first thing I said. I was like, The Northman is an art piece.
Yeah. Like, the story is amazing. The cinematography, just everything.
Yeah.
It's even down to the small little details.
Yeah, and it's not even like the story is this grand, crazy, complex thing to understand. The plot is pretty straightforward. Son gets wronged, feels that he got wronged by his family, by his uncle, wants to have revenge. Simple as that. But it's the way they execute the story. Exactly. It's not like this cut and dry, copy and paste. I love the usual like movie popcorn flick going thing. I wouldn't consider this a popcorn flick. I would consider this a very niche specific, you know, viewership, and that's why I like right now I think it's like 79 Rotten Tomatoes with fans, but like near like 90% with critics.
Yeah, because like some people won't fully like grasp it.
Yeah, or even like movies like this.
Exactly,
because it's not quote unquote entertaining enough.
Right, it's a deeper story that some people just don't like to. They just say, "Oh, this is just a story."
Yeah,
and that's it.
And like you said, it's just art too. It's like art is perceived perceived in different ways or received in different ways too. Not everyone's gonna view the same thing, you know, like that. Like I understand why the critics love this because I'm with them on this because we watch a lot of movies that people wouldn't even think of watching, just because a lot of indie movies we watch, a lot of independent films we might watch with creators that really go ham, and some viewers like them, but a lot of other viewers don't. You know, they're not going to want to throw it on their TV for casual viewing. Even when we're chilling, we're throwing on something stupid to laugh at or something entertaining or whatnot that we find entertaining. You know, so it's very specific people that will just throw the Northman on to watch because they want to enjoy it.
Right. I mean,
you know.
If you'd have asked me like 2-3 years ago, my opinion on it would have been completely different than it is now.
Oh yeah,
because I'm viewing it as kind of like a movie that I'm picking apart.
Yeah.
Rather than a couple years ago, it'd just be a movie that I'm watching.
Yeah, it's different, and you can attest to this when like in your case, like, being a reactor and starting to review movies, right? In my case, being a critic and reviewing movies for so long and being a reactor too, like any other reactor that does this kind of style that we do, that tries to break down movies, or some I can list off the top of my head right now that I'm cool with, that do similar things that we do in like after discussions, right? That are really good at them. Like so shout out to Omni. He's one of the people Omni Media, I could think of him. He's one of those people that are just like very analytical and can focus on breaking things down, right? Yeah. So it's different that when you watch these movies from the perspective of us, like you start to view it a different way versus like when you're just so casual viewer and you're going for entertainment, versus like trying to break a film down and things like that.
There's a big difference.
Yeah, or just any other cinephile. You don't have to be a critic. You can just be a cinephile and just enjoy movies so much, and you really love watching really good films, and you can relate to what we're talking about too. So especially if
you're willing to break it down a little more in your head. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't even have to be to anyone else, but just kind of reflect on everything.
And
like
appreciate the work too.
Exactly. Like, you can definitely have a bigger appreciation for this rather than just, a casual. Because if you're just, casual, if you like a Viking kind of thing, you might like it. But just for kind of casual watching, like, you're not really into that stuff.
Okay, baby,
really
let's go for a date night.
You're probably not gonna like it.
Probably not gonna like it. If you're just, especially if you don't love cinema.
Yeah.
Like, we love cinema. I love cinema for so many different reasons, right? Like the music aspect, the acting, of course, cinematography, all the technical things, all the crew work, everything. I appreciate even good grippers, good key grips, people who run, even the cast and crew the crew who work with lighting, sound design. I appreciate every aspect of filmmaking, and there's not a lot of people that view movies that way, and that's understandable. That's fine. I wasn't always that way. I always knew that there was something about movies that I was drawn to, but I didn't really know exactly what that was until I started to learn the different things. I've just always been drawn to it, right? So it's just like,
everyone is like that.
No, not. I've met some people, even people with music, who don't like music like that. Like, they'll just, this song's nice, it's catchy, but they don't really get into music. And you can say that for any art pieces. People who go to museums and stuff who just really love like expressionism, and they love realism, and they love those types of arts. And I'm not really like that. Like, I can appreciate good artwork, but I can't view it the same way as someone who just really loves art that way.
It's the same thing with movies.
Yeah, it's the same thing with any piece of creative, media. So I can understand why this movie won't be, just to end my thoughts here, because I know we really got to go, but like, I can understand why a lot of, like, the vast majority of people may not like this movie, and it may not be for them, because I was reading some of the comments on Rotten Tomatoes. They were like, too boring, too long,
and I understand that.
Too gory,
it can be,
too this,
It can be very slow for people who don't like a good, like, story building movie.
Yeah.
This is very heavy on.
It's a lot. So, you have to, like I said, this whole time, you gotta be a certain person to appreciate it.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm not really, like, I've never really watched any Viking stuff, but I'm interested in this for sure. Like, this had my attention the whole time. Like, this, I see this as an art piece. This, like, it goes deeper in my head than what is on screen.
True. When it comes to pure entertainment, I will say the Viking series and The Last Kingdom on Netflix take the cake, because that's what they're made to be really good entertainment. Shows. This is entertaining to me for different reasons, because there wasn't a whole lot of fighting. There was a lot of, there was fighting, but the whole movie wasn't like 90% fighting. It wasn't based
on it, yeah.
Yeah, but there was fighting.
Yeah, it was more story than anything.
So,
Sorry, one last thing.
Yeah.
I really love the fight at the end.
Oh yeah, that fight was great.
I really love the, like, cinematics of it.
Yeah.
It was just the
It wasn't a lot of crazy, flashy fighting either.
Exactly.
Very simple mano fighting.
But anyways,
like I told you, this is what I was telling you earlier. This is a movie we talk about for a while.
I'm running a little bit late.
Yep.
Because this need a little bit more time.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll wrap it up here. So make sure you guys go check out Matthew's channel. Link will be in the description below. And make sure you guys like, subscribe if you like what you see. Comment down below what your favorite part of the movie was and your thoughts on it, because I'm very curious what you guys think as well. And make sure to hit the notification bell if you want to get notified whenever I post. And if you want to see the full reaction, it is up on Patreon. Link will also be in the description below. But that's it for us. We'll see you guys next time. Bye. Bye.